Hi, I'm Shannon Kelly, and we're here in Richmond, BC to speak with the CEO of Novex Delivery Solutions.
Welcome to the Go Electric Fleet Show. This is where we sit down and chat about EV fleets, infrastructure, and more. Join us as we explore EV fleets here in BC. Welcome to the Go Electric Fleet Show, brought to you by Plug-in BC, ready to help you navigate the rapidly changing world of electric vehicles. Come along with us to explore this whole new electrical world, from managing fleets to installing infrastructure, to finding places to plug in and even transitioning your whole fleet over to electric power. We'll also take a look at how local businesses and organizations are seeing the benefits of electrification and EV use. BC is a hotbed of innovation and expertise, and a lot of new technologies are trialed right here on our roads for use both here and abroad. So this is a fantastic place to get started if you're curious about the EV journey, or if you're just wanting to know a little bit more. My name is Andrew, and I'm your host. I've worked as a news producer, science communicator, and communications consultant, and I hope that I can help bring some of these stories to life. Shannon Kelly, our intrepid reporter in the field, visited Novex, a same-day courier and freight delivery service based in Richmond, right here in the Lower Mainland. She sat down with Rob Safrata, owner and CEO of Novex Couriers, for a chat about their fleet electrification transition. Have a look.
My name is Robert Safrata. I'm the owner and CEO of Novex Courier in Metro Van. Novex was started in 1984, and then I came into the picture in around the year 2000. And because I wasn't in the industry, I looked at it a little differently, and I started asking, what about these cars that we have? And it's important for people to know we don't own the cars. This is an owner-operator model. And so the drivers show up with cars, and they're interviewed, and then they typically get hired. They get an outfit and some, teeny little stickers and a radio, and they're off and running. And so I use the term, mostly they're driving $3,000 beaters, which is, kind of the norm for the local same-day courier industry. This is not FedEx and UPS, where they own where the company owns the vehicles. And so I challenged our leadership. I said, look, there's these things called hybrids coming out in 03, 04. How can we get our drivers to switch to hybrids? And that's perhaps where I started to gain some notoriety by figuring out how to do that with our drivers.
So currently with Novex, what kind of vehicles are operating in the fleet? And is it still the model of owner-operator where the drivers are actually owning the vehicles?
It's mainly owner-operator, and we have, most of the vehicles are still hybrids, but a growing number are electrics. And the reason we have a few company-owned is that we get them, especially with the electrics, we get them and own them, and then when drivers are skeptical or not sure, we say, okay, look, drive this for a week or two and see if that works for you, and kind of get comfortable, get used to it. It's so quiet and everything, they love it, they can't resist. And so we help we help them along the way to get educated. And what I'm really proud of is that we have a plan that all our vehicles will be electric by 2030.
Excellent. And have you, at any point, had any of the drivers kind of be more reluctant about it, or are a lot of them actually very willing to test it out for maybe just a day?
Well, there are the early days, and then there's now.
Yeah.
And the early days, how do you spell hybrid? How do you turn it on? I mean, it worked the same, but will the battery last? Will I have to, put in a new battery after 3 or 5 years for $5,000? Valid questions at the time. Now we know different. No, it works really well. And in fact, the drivers have proven to themselves and each other the tremendous cost savings they have in maintenance and fuel. And so, in fact, those who can get charging in their home or where they live go right to the electric cars because it's even better. So, when we started with the hybrids, we had to start with 20. The people, the group that was sponsoring us and all that, said, well, you can't just feed them in one at a time for 3 years. Got to start with 20. So we did. We had the federal minister of the environment, come and launch with us, which for a small, 80, 90 car company is pretty amazing. And I came back into the office after we did our launch and a bit of media, and I could sense a palpable difference in the office as well. Pride had absolutely infused the place, and it still does today. In the office with the drivers, they know they're doing something right. They know they're doing something good. They know they're doing something more. And so it's hard to measure it, but I can tell you ways we measure it, actually. The industry turnover is about 35 to 40% per year. Ours is 5 to 7%.
Wow.
Okay, and we take the money, we account a little differently.
Yeah.
So this is out to all these owners and CEOs that are wondering it's too expensive, whatever. I'm saying, look, you account differently. So we know historically what it used to cost us to advertise, interview, train, outfit, and then the first 6 months the driver's not as efficient. And we know how much money that is, and that's part of the money we give the drivers to help them afford their electrics and hybrids.
Wow. So Novex is actually offering kind of like an incentive towards an EV vehicle, whether I'm assuming that's like a leased or purchased vehicle for the drivers.
Yes.
That's
and
absolutely incredible.
I'll even say a little more. So we also looked at our marketing budget. Well, what do? Do you do radio? Do you print ads, whatever? Our marketing budget is some events, education, that kind of thing. And mainly, it's the wrap advertising that we put on the cars, and for that we pay the drivers every month, and that gives them a certainty to buy their vehicle.
Wow, that's amazing. So with them being owner-operator, you had mentioned that especially for folks that have the ability to charge at home, obviously that is a benefit. But for folks that are not charging at home, are they still willing to kind of move into the EVs, and do you know how that charging is actually working?
The quick answer is no.
Yeah.
They'll stick with a hybrid. And it's just, however, in the province, there are thousands of more chargers going in, more locations, fast chargers, half an hour, 20 minutes. So it will be possible if you don't have it in where you live. Even in condominiums, it's been a problem, but that's changing. So if it's not available at home, it will be ubiquitous. It'll be everywhere pretty soon, in the next 5 years. And our goal is by 2030, everything's electric.
Yeah.
So we need, the charging infrastructure has to be there. Again, they're all entrepreneurs. They make up their own decision. They know what works, what they can do.
So what kind of insights do you have on kind of the environmental effect that you have had in this kind of journey towards hybrids first, and then now towards some electric vehicles in the fleet?
It's actually become one of my favorite topics. And in the early days, I would talk about the tons of carbon. Do you know what a ton of carbon looks like? I don't.
Absolutely not.
I have no idea. And I don't know if 100 tons is a lot or a gazillion tons is a little. I really don't know. What I've switched to is air quality. And I don't have it with the bag I brought in today, but I carry around a portable air quality monitor. And so when I'm outside, or if I'm in a room or a restaurant or something like that, I kind of say, oh, what's it like here? And it's amazing, the difference in the air quality. And it's true. Poor air quality kills more people in the world than climate change today. And so when we took the first 20 hybrids we had, this was goosebumps. Remember the air care centers that BC used to have? So we got the first 20 hybrids, and I said, hey, let's take one through air care. We didn't have to. Let's take it through and see what the numbers are. And then we took the average of the 20 beaters we'd taken off the road, and things like nitrous oxide, carbon monoxide, and harder carbons were down comparatively 99%. That is incredible. So when we have 80 or 90 cars driving around a couple hundred kilometers, sometimes 300 kilometers a day, that's a huge amount of pollution if you don't have the right vehicles. And medium heavy-duty vehicles and delivery cars, whatever, account for about 40% of the air pollution, even though they represent only 3% of the total fleet. So, I buy dirty companies and clean them up, and I'm in the transportation space, and I'm excited by our drivers and what the community likes about it, and our customers too.
So what initially motivated or inspired this conversion to electric fleets with Novex, or even just your interest in it with either your work at this company, or I know you're involved in many other companies as well?
A few things, and again, I speak about my personal experience, but also talking to hundreds of owners, CEOs, presidents, drivers over the last 20 years. It's really important for this to be successful for the leadership to want to do it. That is the key determinant to greening a company or a triple bottom line, operation of a company. That the leadership, that's the biggest determinant. It can come from the fleet or the people, and in some cases has, and that's wonderful too, but eventually it's got to be accepted throughout. Mine was more of a very personal reason in the beginning. I grew up in Toronto, and when I was 14 I came out here in the summer, and when I got off the airplane as a young 14-year-old, I went, they must lubricate the air out here, right? And that's my own personal air quality monitor. So I wanted to move here and live in that kind of fresher environment. And then when I bought Novex Courier, and I did see the vehicles and realized, was starting to become educated on what we're doing, I thought, okay, we can differentiate ourselves, we can do something about it. We can do something bigger than us. And that really excited, really now everyone in the company.
Excellent.
And some companies come to it from a risk management side. If they're public companies, if they're shareholders, there's many different reasons to get started. Any one of them is good.
What have been some of the operational challenges in this, I guess, in the adoption of hybrids initially, and then now moving into some of the electric vehicles?
I'll go with the electrics. Because we were so keen, we did some bleeding edge things, and yet, there's no mistakes, there's learnings. I'm not trying to get off the hook, but at least we did something. So there have been some cases where we found out that the electric range wasn't as much as we needed it to be. And so we're better now. With same-day courier, the person that starts in the morning doesn't know how far they're going to go. They might, because it's made up all day long. People are phoning or booking it. And so they don't know if they're going to have to go 100 kilometers or 400 kilometers. The current range is around 250, 300. And so we're actually waiting the next couple of years for vans and other vehicles that have the range, so that you don't see us being towed from A to B. These weren't drastic or dramatic things. I'm glad we pushed the envelope, and we know they're coming, and we're determined to hit our 2030 goal. I think hopefully a number of people who are on this watching this have had an audit of their business. That's number one. Just get an audit. They don't cost much, lots of groups doing it, and then you can see, if I did this, did that, right? We've been audited externally a number of times, and it's 2020, our footprint was down 59% since 2007. And it probably more if we'd started measuring in 03, 04. So in fact, it definitely would have been more. So we went to the auditor and said, well, instead of looking just back, tell us how to get to zero by 2030. They've never done that before. And so it's a wonderful guideline we have, and we absolutely believe and know we can do it, and if not, we're going to be darn close and get there and be a great example. And it excites everyone, it motivates everyone, and as I said earlier, pride. How do you design pride into your day, to your work, and how motivating is that?
From your experience in kind of the courier space, the logistics space, what kind of insights would you pass along to other business operators?
The big difference now is there are many grants that will help pay for assessments, for your audits, to help you solve is, which vehicle would work for you, why, and then again, more grants, even charging assessments. BC Hydro will help pay for the infrastructure assessments. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that wasn't available 15, 20 years ago. And so there's not an excuse to get started, to start with your first steps. And the way I do things is I say, okay, here's my goal. I don't even have to put a date. It could be 5 years, it could be 15 years. Here's where I want to go. What are my first 5 steps with my, let's get on it and just start walking forward. It's not scary, it does work. And again, it's hard to quantify, but the effect of the pride and energy in your business will surprise you.
Hey there. Thanks for joining us on the Go Electric Fleet Show. Please like and subscribe for more content about electric vehicle fleets in British Columbia and beyond.